Good afternoon. It feels like a sauna in here. It's 92 degrees and 14% humidity. Like my tongue is dry. Anyway, I wanted to share two things today. A story from this morning and then what I am about to do. I went to Brew Culture Coffee this morning. One of my top coffee shops, I would say. And I've been trying to, for some context, I am waiting for the YouTube API team to, frankly, respond to me. Being left on red. Um, Approve my quota increase application, which includes an audit of my software. And it's been a while. So I'm trying to figure out things to do in the meantime and improve the product and make sure things are ready to go when I do get that increased, um, or we figure out some middle ground between the two of us. And so I added this thing today, which required two new fields on the data that I'm storing, which means I had to basically migrate or refetch all of the data. And I could have done this uh, in a smart way and efficiently. And that's what I tried to do. So basically, I think it was like 10,000 files and 60,000 videos. Uh, and basically, I had to go through all of those files and update two fields on all of those files based on new fetched data. Sounds easy enough. I wrote the script and then I passed the script. Well, I was working with ChatGPT as I do. I passed the script to ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, can you check my code for bugs?" And it said, "Yeah, it looks fine. Or it looks mostly fine." It did catch one thing, which was it doesn't really matter. It caught one thing. I fixed that, but then um, it like re added a couple more improvements and logging and whatever else. And I was like looking over and I was like, this looks good. And so copied the updated section back over. And I had looked through and I saw there was a section of it where I was updating the actual data that I would be saving back to the file. And I looked at it and I was like, this is not what I had, but I think it's right. And so I was like, I ran it locally, and it worked. The outputted data seemed correct, and so I pushed it up to my server. I ran it. Maybe 5-10 minutes later, it all worked, and I looked at the data, and it looked fine. And then I went to my software and I started getting some errors, and I was like, this is weird. And I'm missing some fields on my like video objects. And I go back and I look at the script and I was like, oh my god. Basically, let me try to explain this simply. So there's the API data that I get back, and then that's like a video object. And then I take that data and I add more stuff to it, other analytics, averages, etc., etc. And so then you have a like my video object. So there's the API object and then my object. My video object is what was supposed to be stored in all of the files. When I passed my script to ChatGPT and it reformatted my code, it changed it so that rather than saving the original my object and just updating the fields, it saved the API version of the video object. And so I was missing all of these fields that I needed. And I was like, oh my God. So I screwed up. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It just sucks because it cost me time. And I just lost a bunch of data that I need to refetch, which costs quota. Much of which I don't have. So anyway, I created a new script basically to refetch all of the data, which is taking like 10 times as long. But yeah, I don't know what the lesson is in there. I was gonna say don't pass your code to ChatGPT, but I mean, look, the code that it gave me, I looked over and I thought it was right. And there was a small error that it thought was right that was actually not right. So anyway, I don't know I don't know what else to say. We'll get through it. But I mean, I could have like saved all of the data before updating it. I could have done a whole bunch of things, but I just YOLO shipped it. And sometimes you get a chance. There's a chance that things don't go the way that you thought they would. But the good thing is, it's fixable, so it's not that big a deal. But I did think it was a funny, unfortunate moment. The second thing, I am about to take a motorcycle skills course. It's both 2 lectures and 2 skills, like on the ground, on the motorcycle, in the parking lot with the cones and the instructors and whatever. The reason I'm doing this is for a bigger master plan that hopefully will go according to plan, more than the script that I wrote this morning. So, but the reason I say that is because there are 2 Zoom like classes, and these are the first. I think these are the first Zooms, besides like family Zooms, that I've taken in the van. And so it's been an interesting kind of problem to figure out. The Zoom is from 6 to 9 p.m. And basically, I have to find a place to park my van because there are almost definitely not going to be any public libraries or coffee shops or workspace. Maybe a co-working space that could work, but usually they're like $15-20 a day. So I had to find a parking lot that I could park at from 6 to 9 p.m. Thankfully, I have more battery and I have a Starlink, so I should have internet and power. But so that's no longer a constraint, hopefully, which is good. But one of the concerns is, well, first of all, I try to go to bed at like 9:30, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to uh, shower and get ready for bed basically right after. And the other thing is, one of the things, I don't know how universal this is, but sharing a kind of this is how my mind works thing about van life is I tend to be careful where I park my van in the evenings. Because, especially in a place like Denver where there are other people in campers and vans and stuff like that, um, sometimes you signal different types of things, and I don't want to, like, if I were parked in a Walmart parking lot that doesn't allow overnight parking, and I'm parked there in the dark at 9 p.m. Um, there is a higher likelihood that a security person would come by and, like, knock on my door and say, "Oh, you can't park here," thinking that I would be camped there, but I really wouldn't, you know. And the other thing is, I mean, that's probably the best scenario. If I'm parked there in 9 p.m. at in dark, at dark at 9 p.m. and someone else drives by looking for a spot, and they're like, "Oh, there's another van here, so it must be okay." And then, like, they park and they go to bed, but then I leave. I basically just screwed over this other, you know, person trying to sleep and live in their van. So anyway, that's just some things that I think about and that I'm sure nobody else thinks about that doesn't live in a van. Um, and so I think I found a good spot, but we'll see. So this will be a grand adventure. My first uh, kind of accountability thing course lecture that I've taken in the van. It feels kind of weird. So we'll hope for the best and see how it goes. That's my story for today. See you tomorrow.